Welcome to Mr. Sensei. In this video, I'm going to talk a really funny story why I moved from New Jersey. I lived in Jersey City and I work in Wall Street, and then I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys just a few suggestions why you should move away from those cities and find a better place to live. And but behind that, there is a whole story for me. Why did I move from Wall Street to here in Charlotte, North Carolina? I work in Wall Street and then all of a sudden I made my mind, quit my job and came to Charlotte, North Carolina. And here is the story. Then I will tell you a few points what I faced in living in New Jersey and working in Wall Street that made my like that was became the reason for me to move to a smaller town and live a better life. I'm not saying like people who live in New York or New Jersey they have a worse life. There is a different type of life. So some works for some people, doesn't work for some people. Okay, so this is the month my daughter has a birthday, and we went to order a very nice cake. And she was small girl, and she wanted a cake with the fairies and all those kind of toys on top of the cake. So I ordered that really nice cake for her, and the one then I came from the work on her birthday, and my wife told me, okay, you got to go and get the cake. So I said, okay, I will go and get the cake. And there was some other stuff I was supposed to get as a part of party. In the evening her friends were coming and all that for the birthday party. So I took my car. So I always have this rental house, and that I was paying around $1,800 for rent. There was no parking in the for that house, so I was parking my car in the street. Just I will tell you with the street thing was the story. So okay, so I took my car and went to the get the cake. I could not find the parking where I was supposed to pick the cake. So anyways, I went 2 or 3 streets away from that shop, the bakery or cake shop, and then parked my car and came. The snow had happened last night, and the snow does really happen bad in New York and New Jersey. So I they do a really great job on taking care of the snow part and everything, but sometimes things can go wrong with you. So I had this office wear, excuse me, and I went, I got the cake, I got other stuff, and I was holding in 2 hands, and I was walking in a street, and there was some ice, and I couldn't really control myself and fell down. so so I slipped. Anyways, the cake was on me, and I was I was all like, what the hell? Okay, so anyways, I took the cake, I took whatever I could, and I put it in the trash. I went back to the bakery. I asked him, can you make that cake again for me, and big one, the nice one, the same way you had it? The guy said, that's gonna be impossible right now because we don't have time for that, and the party is going on, and like you have to go back in like 30-40 minutes. So he was very nice. Anyways, he said that I can get you a big cake, we write happy birthday, this and that. So he got me a big nice cake. I got the cake, went back to my car, took all the things, and in my brain this really went through. I said, what the hell, why I came to America? So where exactly I am living that dream life that people come for. They say, I want to have a comfortable life. I want to have a good life. There is no parking. Okay, whenever I have a car, but there is no parking, so I have to park my car on the left of the street or right of the street, and every day I have to struggle for it. So in New Jersey, if you are living here in New Jersey, so they have to clean the streets, and that's great, but you get up in the morning. If you don't have parking, what you have to do, you have to take your car and park on the other side. By the time you get up, people have already taken every spot. You get up even 5:30, 6:30, whatever. So you try to find those spots where you can park on the other side of the street, so they don't have, they can clean the left or right side of the street for you. But just think that I struggle with that much so much. Like even in the winter, when it's freezing cold, you're struggling to find the spot for your car to park, and then you are going through one round and one street, second street, third street, fourth street, and then you have to walk back to the bus station or walk forward to the bus station. So terrible life, in a cold winter, you are struggling to have a parking, and I paid because I couldn't find parking many times, so I had to just leave my car wherever it is, and I paid more tickets on. Actually, I really didn't pay any really ticket like over speeding and all those kind of things. That didn't happen, but I paid a lot of those parking ticket because I couldn't find the spot on the other side of the road, and I had to do it. So it was like one of the worst things. Second part, like if I have to take my kids to the doctor, there is no parking for doctor's office too. So okay, so doctor's office is right in front of this road, and you take like I had two kids at that time, they were small, and now you go there and you just throw them out, with your wife or whatever, and you just because there are people waiting on your back, there is no parking, so you take the car and circle around and try to find a park, and you maybe park in a half mile away, come back to the doctor's office. By the time like your wife is done, then you have to go run back to the car and get the car for the kids and all that. So, or you just go in and find a parking or somewhere, or just keep driving and be on the phone with your family. Like, okay, when you're done with the doctor, call me, I will come back. Those, like you have the facility, you have achieved that, like a device that can help you to live a better life, but you don't have space to use it. Okay, now that was one of the things like it was in my brain. Then second part was going like, okay, every day I have to struggle. I have the car, I cannot take the car and go to the work. So that was the worst. Like in New Jersey or New York, literally like you no, your nose weep. People say your eyes weep, but your nose weep because it's so cold and you are all freezing, and you have watery nose and all that. Like, okay, really terrible life. Like, and you have to walk many times, like you take a bus, and from the bus you have to take a train and all that, and you have really like you have jackets, you have big shoes and everything, and you keep the actual shoes what you are going to wear in office, and you have separate shoes for just so you from go home from home to the office. You can't really nicely dress and go to office in one dress. You have to have multiple dresses. Like, okay, when I go to office, I'm going to change that there, and because it's a winter, really terrible winter, and all that. On top of that, you are paying so much money for the rent, and okay, forget about the rent. Let's say rent, like there is a problem with that. So I was paying $1,800, and my kids were small, so I had two kids at that time. I was on the first floor, so there was a couple of girls actually were living downstairs. I had a really rough time with them. Most of the time in America, that's the only thing I remember. Like my neighbors were not really great people. So whenever I get up like 7:30, my kids are 7:30 or 7, or they need to go brush their teeth and all that. These people bang, bang, bang from the down there, and I feel like very terrible for myself and for my kids. Like, oh, hey, kids, like calm down, don't run, don't do this, don't do this. So you try to control your kids so much, like you take the life away. Even they were not running. I mean, in the morning, kids even don't really run. But they are hardly, barely. You push them to the restroom so they can brush their teeth and go get ready for school. But in morning, I had that experience. Like there was two ladies living downstairs, really had a hard time, and bang, bang, bang. So a couple of times we had some arguments and all that. No, wasn't that great. There is a list of the things. Then on top of that, if you are paying that much money, you are not using, there is no facility, they're not nice living apartment or house. You are paying $1,800 or $2,000 for the rent, and you are living in a terrible life. I would suggest leave that place and go somewhere. On top of that, when I start thinking about, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and buy a house. Now, when you buy a house, you are paying a lot of taxes on the house. And if you are in New Jersey or New York, the house tax is way higher than here in North Carolina. So I was looking for the house for a 5-bedroom around the same area, cover like 3,400 square feet. That can cost you like $1 million, or $800,000, and not that great looking house, but the same house, same size of the house I bought here in Charlotte in $210,000 when I moved in 2013, and my total house taxes were around $2,400 per year. There it was around $16,000 to maybe $25,000 I would be paying that. So whole life I will be working just to pay the house taxes and house installments. So that's one of the reason I said no, enough. I don't want to live in this city. I visited like you want to visit a friend, or you have your car, you are going and driving somewhere. You can't really have a parking there. You have a friend, like his house is there, but there is no parking. So if you want to go upstairs, like I went to many friends houses, and I took my kids with me. It took me forever to find a parking. And by the time the party is over, like you drop your kids and you drop your wife and you keep driving around and around. There are a lot of places, like you want to go to a restaurant, you can't take those cars there. You just and think about when you have kids, especially if you have a family of like 3 or 4 people. Now you live in the those apartments. Groceries, you need to get the milk, you need to get all those things. It is a terrible, like you have you get those you have car, go get the groceries, and then you have to lift all the stuff on the first floor, or second floor, because there is no lift in some of the apartments. So I have seen a lot of, especially the people who immigrate from other countries. I have seen in New Jersey, very terrible life living. They live in a garage. I have seen people living in a garage. I have seen people living without air conditioning. Very bad living style. In especially New Jersey. I lived in many places, but New Jersey you will see that. So all these things add up, and the work pressure, especially if you are working in Wall Street, the work pressure is going to be really high. And that can as because you're working in a financial district, and when you work with the financial district, you are dealing with the money, and when you are dealing with the money, you have your one phone on this side, another phone on this side, and you are working day and nights and all that. Yes, you will make some money, but most of the time you will be spending at least 2 hours in morning in commute, 2 hours in evening in commute. You are not having a great time, like your living standard is not improved. You have the cars and everything, but you can't take those cars. If something goes wrong with your family, like you have to pick the kid and all that, it take you 2 hours to get out of the city and take care of the kid, and go to school and pick him up or pick her up. Those are all the reason add up, and I said, oh no, this New York and New Jersey is not the place for me to live. So that's why I moved to Charlotte, and I am happy I moved. And I will suggest anybody who come to New York or New Jersey is not the last resort. Or you come to LA is not the last city in America. You go, come to Chicago is not the only city in America. There are a lot of more cities here in America, and they are very nice. They are very affordable. Housing is very affordable. Living standards are way higher. So I will suggest, explore other areas of the world, and explore other cities in America, and then look for those cities where you can have American dream. If you now I have a 2-car garage there, so my cars are parked right there. I have this big backyard, and I have this. I'm like, look at this one. On this side, if you guys see right there, this is almost like 1 mile forest or woods right there, and I will give you guys tour on the other side of my house. There is a small river or creeks. They're very beautiful. I take my kids there. We go for adventures and all those kind of things. There are a lot of snakes we find sometime, but there are beautiful areas around here in the world. You don't have to be like live in that congested, terrible. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Some people, I have friends that they love New York and New Jersey, and there are some good reason because there are a lot of mixed culture there. There are a lot of different variety of food you can find. But if you're open like me, you want to be explore more, have more space for yourself. The salary range, especially I work in IT, doesn't really matter for me. I still work for the company that's headquartered in New York, so I travel to New York. But in Charlotte, North Carolina, that's 17th biggest city, and that pretty much provide me same opportunities what I could have in New York. Maybe there will be $5,000 or $10,000 here and there. That's what all it can be for the salary. But there are a lot of jobs in these small cities as well, and living standards are much better if you are looking for living an American dream life, where you have a big house, where you can have a nice car, you can drive to office. In New York, I mean, you are not gonna be. You can have the very nice car, but think about paying $30 per hour, or paying a lot of money for just parking. And even you can take the car. It will take you forever to go in the city and take the car and park it there. So I will not suggest it here in Charlotte. I can be in the office in 25 to 30 minutes. So if you guys want to watch that video where I made that video, a day in the life of a software engineer, I give you guys a tour of uptown of Charlotte. You guys can watch that. I will put it right there. Thanks very much, and see why you moved from New York or from New Jersey to other city in America. Write me in the comments, and let's see if it does make sense, or for people to move from one city, or why. So let me ask you this, or why you moved from a small city to New York? What took you from a small, bigger area to the congested or bigger buildings? So let me know. Different thought process, a different way of people think, and different things make them happy. So share some your thoughts, and thank you very much for listening me, and I will see you guys in next video.